Good day, viewers. My name is Dr. Shahid A, and I'm here for bankers at pkeconomists.com. And we are here today at the local hotel to talk to Mr. Sirajuddin Aziz, the Chief Executive of Bank Alfalah, on the state of affairs of banking industry here in Pakistan. What the state of economy is here in Pakistan currently after the 50 basis points increase in markup rates, and how is that going to affect lending in the banking sector, borrowing from the banking sector?
I think the primary objective of this particular enhancement was in relation to containing inflation. And I think the monetary policy has been dictated by the only requirement, i.e. containing inflation, which you have seen in the past 2-3 years has climbed up to something like 25% at one stage, has been brought down to a reasonable level now. Food inflation is still without any barriers, it still continues to rise. I suspect that yes, borrowing would become expensive. The cost of doing business, the financial cost of doing business is going to be on the high side, obviously. But this is all to rein in the economic fundamentals of the country. And I think with this commitment of the state to enhance the capital, the tax base of the economy, to be able to have greater tax collection. Currently, I think we are doing about 9.5% of the GDP. We have to take it to a level of 15% as per our commitments to the IMF. So unless these things happen in conjunction and together, I think one step at a time without the other step being taken at this simultaneous pace will not yield the results. They will have to move in conjunction.
Do we have any other way to contain inflation except just raising interest rates?
I think the first and foremost is for the government to cut back its expenditure. And if the government stops borrowing and crowding out the private sector, I think that will be a major step. There has to be willingness, the political willingness on the part of the government to cut back on its expenditure. And I think we have heard comments from the government functionaries that they are wanting to do it. I think recently there has been abolition of certain ministries already. So they are taking steps. But these are gradual processes. They take time. I think it should be realistic in our expectations that these things take time. And as things mature, we can see some good light at the end of the tunnel.
We have 25 banks listed on the stock exchange. Do you think there's enough room for all these players to play around?
I personally think that Pakistan is still an underbanked economy. That's my view. People think to the contrary that Pakistan is overbanked. I don't think so. It's overbanked. There is still a lot of room for growth. We still need to reach out to the people in the rural areas. It's still a very untapped market there.
What would you say about Islamic banking, not as a product but as a proper banking system in Pakistan?
Well, you see, we have the markup system currently prevalent, what we call the conventional banking, but that's also based on certain Islamic injunctions and principles. So on top of that, now we have come up with Islamic banking, which is expected to be totally devoid of riba. But to say that time value for money is a different concept in Islam, it's a very difficult subject for me to comment, but I personally see that yes, there has been a massive growth in the Islamic banking area. If you look at 2003, 2004, when Islamic banking was started, there are less than 1% assets of the total banking industry. Today they are in the region of 10%. So there has been a substantive growth. And I suspect that as we move along, as we trudge along, there might be growth more on the Islamic banking side than on the conventional banking side.
Do you think the state bank is increasing its demands for increasing the paid-up capitals of banks? What about the smaller banks? Do you see mergers happening more?
Well, you see, as a banker, it is not fair for me to comment on the regulator because they have a larger picture to look at. But yes, I can make an observation that merger is not a solution to capital requirement, because mergers bring with them their own set of nightmares for those who are involved in it. So I think looking at the requirement of capital, it should be real, not fictitious, not fiction. There has to be infusion of money into doing business.
Coming to Bank Alfalah, do you see it is having any impact on if the mobile phone company Warid going over to another? There's rumor that Warid is going to be sold, and and maybe Bank Alfalah has a stake in it. Would you want to?
We have a very small stake in Warid. It's a sister company of the Abu Dhabi Group. I don't think so that it will have any impact on the way we conduct our business, because in any case, being a sister company, we deal with it at arm's length, i.e. they look at their economic propensities of doing business with us, and we look at it on a similar fashion. So as even if they are with or without, I think we should be able to conduct business unabated without interruption.
Is Bank Alfalah planning to go overseas?
We are already having branches, 5 in Bangladesh, 2 in Afghanistan, and we've got a presence in Bahrain, which is a wholesale banking unit, and a representative office in Abu Dhabi. So yes, we have, but I think to expand exponentially, regionally, I think that would be difficult in the coming few years.
Sir, we are studying and teaching subjects on finance in different universities. Mm-hmm. Would you like to suggest any new area that the academia could look upon to teach people, like derivatives or any other subject that would be beneficial for students to have quality information and get into banking sector?
I mean, there is no harm in teaching new subjects, but all new subjects must have only one underlying basis, and I think that is lacking, and that is balancing morality and business ethics with demands of business.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.